Hi folks, this is video 44 and the title is No Luck for Us 3 times. No luck for us 3 times. For a few years I owned a nice 20-foot center console boat with the 175 horsepower outboard. It is the one thing I wish I still owned. It was a great fishing boat. I had a camper at Fairhaven, New York for a few years, until they raised the cost out of my price range. I used to launch at the state park as it was right next to the campground. Roy and I fished Lake Ontario a few times. This is a summary of a couple of our escapades. I like to fish at night after all the kids with the jet skis have gone home. Roy and I decided to fish on Little Sodus Bay. It's a small, well-protected bay. In fact, the community keeps a large Traxavator hoe on shore to keep the access from the big lake open. It is usually a slot just a little wider than the boat. The pike fishing in there is great in the spring. This was summer and we were trolling with downriggers. I was watching the fish finder screen. All at once this beast with 3 sets of dorsal fins showed up on the screen. Oh cow! What the heck is that? About a minute or so later, we found out. One of the downrigger poles released and Roy grabbed it. We had hooked something, but it was out of the spread of the stern light. Roy was cranking and he said there was resistance but no real fight. Pretty soon our catch became visible in the light. We had snagged a big eel about in the middle of its body. We were just dragging it into the boat. Roy wanted me to cut the line. Nope, that's a $10 lure. Now those same lures cost over $30. I kept some shop rags on board to wipe hands and equipment off. I tried to catch that bugger, but no luck. He was squirming all over the back of the boat. I actually stood on that eel with both feet, and it didn't seem to faze him at all. He got out from under me. Roy started searching in the big tackle box. He came back with a pair of pliers. He was going to whack it in the head. Being conservation officers, I reminded him that killing eels in Little Sodus was illegal. Oddly enough, that is the only place where you can't kill them in New York at that time. Roy said, "I'm not going to kill him. I'm just going to slow him down a bit." He thumped the eel in the head and didn't kill him. He did slow down enough for us to get my bomber lure back. We released him and he swam away. Then I had to get the hose out and fire up the washdown pump to get all that slime out of the floor and washed out the scuppers. Another time during the day, we were spring salmon fishing. The fish get pretty close to shore. I could troll at an average of 1.5 miles an hour with the brakes in the water. My boat had an 85-gallon fuel tank. We could troll 4 days without refueling. This day we were trolling about 150 yards offshore. The weather was beautiful. The fish were down about 40 to 50 feet. We had 2 lines on both downriggers and staggered the lure distance back to between 100 and 150 feet. The bottom was fairly flat and hard, but we were seeing fish. All at once the clutch on one of the downriggers started to slip and the rods had not released. I had to stop the boat. I started backing up slowly and Roy brought in all the gear so we wouldn't run over the lines. Once we backed up to where the downrigger lines started to go under the boat, the cable went vertical, so I knew we were free of the snag. We brought everything up out of the water. Being we were not trolling close to the bottom, and it was visibly flat the whole time, I wanted to see what we snagged. I figured maybe there was an old tree or something. I switched to the wide-angle sonar cone and kept the boat at idle and put it in forward. We watched the screen carefully. For a short time there was nothing on the screen but flat bottom. All at once there was a pole. According to the depth scale, it was about 40 feet tall. The water was 60. It was just a pole. It looked like it may have been a telephone pole or something. It was the only thing sticking up along that run for over 2 miles, and we snagged it. Imagine if we had to snag it. We'd be there a week and couldn't do it. Just our luck. Roy and I decided to enter the ESLO tournament. That stands for Empire State, Lower Ontario. It's a New York statewide fishing tournament. It cost us $50 each to enter. The first prize was a pickup and a boat like mine, but a walk-through instead of a center console. It was the same base, just a different deck configuration. Nice boat. We were trolling basically the same route we were on when we snagged the pole. We were watching for it this time. Roy was manning the pole, and I was driving. We had 4 releases. I don't know why, but Roy didn't connect on any of them. He was not a happy camper by then. We traded places. I got a release and grabbed the pole and started cranking and yanking. I had a fish on. It turned out to be a nice little brown trout, about 5 or 6 pounds. It looked like a big football. I put him in the live well. Roy was really unhappy now. I swapped back to the wheel. There was a boat trailing us. He was following right in my wake, but back about 150, 200 yards. All at once that boat made an about face and took off. I told Roy I think that guy got a good fish, and he wants to get it back in and weighed and measured before it has a chance to chuck up its last meal and loses weight. By listening to the marine radio the previous couple of days, everyone was having good luck with green dodgers with the black stripe. That's what we were trolling, and we were getting hits. As it turns out, the guys in the other boat were trolling an orange dodger with the black stripe. We trolled through the same school of fish. I caught a small brown trout. The guys in the other boat caught a 37-pound steelhead salmon. Here's the real kicker. They won the tournament. They won the pickup and boat, and I think there was some cash involved as well. He was trolling in my wake. Just our luck. And this concludes just a few of our fishing fiascos. All the best, everyone.